Hey, good morning everyone. Quick shout out to the New Zealand Distance Riders Facebook group, and just a quick reference back to the discussion that's going on right now about auxiliary lights and also the DialDim controller done by Denali. So I just want to show you my lights real quick. These top ones here, these are Denali D4s, 4 LEDs, 2 beams, 2 spreads. So they've got these filters that can be turned around. You can replace these with pure spots as well, I think. I can't remember what they give you in the box. I can go and have a look afterwards. But these spread ones here, they will spread them opposing the lines. So if you want them to spread wide, you'd put it around this way. If you want to spread them up and down, then you could rotate that 90 degrees. That filter comes off and goes back on, no problem. So these are just mounted under my mirrors, no problem with them. These are the Denali, I think these are called DR1s. They come with a white lens, but I swapped that out to an amber one. I can't remember if that came in the kit or not. I'm also using a Denali specific, this is a bike model specific bracket that goes on and mounts them nice and firmly for me onto the Connie. So they were easy to install as well. These use just a homemade, 3D printed homemade bracket under the mirror mounts. So I got them on both sides, and inside of these are LED city little running lights. They're quite bright, but they're just aftermarket little ones in there. And then I've got the, in this case actually, these are Pathfinder LEDs, the H4s. In Connie over there, I've got the Philips Ultinon Extreme 2 ones. In that one, these are aftermarket LED floods that I put on this bike. And on the R1 here, we've got D4s mounted to the forks. Now, I told someone else about how we mounted these. It's that simple. Nice big fat, healthy hose clamp on top of the forks there. Some rubber mounts just underneath that so we can tighten them up nice and firmly and not scratch the fork legs as well. And then ever so slightly rotated when it's mounted onto the fork there, but that's perfect. Now we've got the DialDim on this bike too. Here's the Denali DialDim on the R1, and and the DialDim here. So all up, I've fitted this to 3 of my bikes, and it works really well. So let's crack into that and I'll show you what it does. All right, so the DialDim itself provides 2 channels, green and blue. So currently the bike's not even running. I can, at stop, dial them up, double click to move between channels. Okay, so there's the lower orange, the lower ambers. The blues are the top primary channel. You can see here, even without my headlights on, I've managed to dial them up and down. If you see this flickering, it's actually just it's just one of those artifacts of videoing LED lights that have time splicing applied to control the brightness. They're not actually flickering, they're just dim. They don't look like they're flickering to the naked eye. So there's the lower ones going down and off. So there's about, let's count them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 positions between off and full. So you can move between them like this. Now, I mean, I've found these useful with lights dimmed when I'm going around off ramps which curve back on themselves quite tightly, and your lights don't necessarily, your normal lights wouldn't necessarily catch all the way around. I've found it easy enough to actually just change the channel to the blues, knock them up enough, and then as soon as I've seen enough and I'm starting to come back around onto the motorway, knock them back down. So what happens here is this controls the brightness when your lights are dimmed, right? If we start the bike, okay, I'll shout now. If you start the bike and then have it on high beam, then it'll throw it up. So if you want to travel around with your uppers and your lowers on about 5%, that's how you do it. When you go on high beam, everything comes on, right? There we go. Sorry, I forgot I didn't need to keep it running. Keep the headlights on. Okay, yeah, so that's how you would set it, so that if you want it at 10%, 15%, you can knock them up a bit. You can have the lowers on, but the top one's off. That's typically how I'd ride around during the day. Top one's off, lower one's on about 5 to 15%. And then when you're at night and you turn them up, everything comes on. Yeah, so those are the dial dims. Now there's also a horn input. Some people wire this directly to the horn, which is fine. I have a reason not to, but I've got it on a push button here, so if I push it, then that happens. You get a fantastic full 100% strobing action at 4 Hertz, like that, of both channels, top and bottom. Yeah, so it just interrupts whatever you've got on right now. So if I'm traveling around in the day like that, it interrupts that, and then they all start flashing. The reason why I don't have that hooked up to my horn is because my horn's also hooked up to my radar detector. I did configure that like that in the States, and when my radar detector goes off, my horn goes off. And so when we were driving along the freeway there and there was a police car parked up on the side gunning, I would be flashing him when my radar detector was going off, which was me saying, "Hi, I see you," from a long way off. But it also drew some attention to us. We didn't get stopped for it, but yeah, there's that. So anyway, I think these are fantastic. The other thing I didn't show you yet was the indicator side of things. So you can see with any single side indication, it will mimic them. This is nice when lane splitting. Let me see if I can. Okay, so I've just manually dialed the upper ones on. So you'll see that it dims the turning side while you're indicating. Now, it can be a little annoying if you're in a dark spot and you were hoping to have that show you where you, or sort of illuminate the direction in which you're going. It can be a little bit annoying, but there's enough other light, generally speaking, that it doesn't really dip everything out to become a problem. Anyway, interestingly, when you put your hazards on, it doesn't do that. It doesn't actually knock the lower ones out, and I never really understood that, but it's never really caused me any problems either. Anyway, hope that's been useful. There's another video online that I've posted a link to, which highlights where this is very, very useful. There are better systems, I think, for bikes with integrated CAN buses, with the easy CAN option. But if your bike doesn't have one of those, if your bike's not on that list of those which you can integrate the easy CANs with, then this will go on anything, which is why you see them plastered over some of the other bikes here. All right, cheers.